welcome back to the next video. In today's video I will show you how to do periodic sync with a service worker using JavaScript. Firstly, there are a lot of gotchas with periodic sync. I would highly recommend that try to avoid this API at all cost. Secondly, the reason for this is, so firstly I will show you the output. Currently the output is not working for me because it depends on lot of factors, and I will tell you what all factors is. So here I have just one button, so I'll just delete this for now. I have just one button, and on clicking on this button I am what I'm doing is that I'm just doing a periodic sync in my service worker, and just once the service worker starts and it gets this periodic sync event, it just does a console log at the it just does the console log in the browser. But for periodic sync a permission needs to be provided, but the permission will be granted by the browser and it won't be granted by the user. So that's what the catch is. So if I try to click on register a periodic sync, here you can see that it is telling me permission not granted, but it never asked me for the permission. Okay, so how will the user know? So these are the things which are very difficult to debug a periodic sync, because a periodic sync depends upon your app engagement or a web app engagement. So typically a web app engagement ranges from 0 to 100. So the higher the number, higher the possibility that Chrome will give you this permission. Secondly, this API is only available on Chrome, no other browser supports it. Thirdly, this API can change drastically internally, not the high level API which we used in JavaScript, but internally it can change drastically in Chrome. So you never know, Google like Chrome might change their internal workings, and that might affect your periodic sync. It's always better to use background sync, which I have done in my previous video using service worker. Fourth, so when will this permission be granted? Mostly, like, this is not 100% guarantee, but mostly this permission will be granted if you have an engagement ratio of above 90. Okay, so if the user comes to your app daily, spends a lot of time, then this permission might be granted by Chrome. Secondly, if the user has installed a progressive web app for your website or a web app itself, like if he has installed a PWA, like a progressive web app, then you might get the permission. And again, you might or you might not. Okay, there is a high chance of you might get the permission if the user has installed the progressive web app. Third, if the user has enabled notification like web push, then you might get the permission. Again, you might or you might not. So there are a lot of gotchas with this. Also, like this periodic sync only runs once every 12 hours. Chrome might change this time in the might change this interval in the future. We never know. Okay, and it again depends on lot of conditions. Even if the permission is granted, the browser decides when it will do the background sync. Like, lot of conditions should be met. Network conditions should be connectivity should be stable. Secondly, battery should be high. There could be other conditions as well which I am not really aware about. Okay, so again, don't use this API. As far as I am aware, I will try to avoid using this API at all cost. So just to show you how to use it, here as you can see inside index.html, I have created one button, and I am loading this JavaScript file background.js in my HTML. And if you see on click listener of our button, here I have registered a service worker at the top. Okay, and on click listener I am first checking whether the service worker is ready. If yes, then I am querying for this permission. Again, this permission will be granted by the browser, not by the user, so the user won't even see the permission dialog. Again, this might change in future. At least for now, user can't see this dialog because it is Chrome only API, no other browser supports it. And if the permission is granted, then what I'm doing is that I am creating a tag of daily news which our service worker will look for, and the minimum interval is 12 hours. Even if you give it 1 second, it will only run in 12 hours, once every 12 hours. So no point in giving small interval time. And here I'm just doing a console log if permission is not granted. Okay, And if you go to the service worker implementation, here you can see you will have to add a listener for periodic sync, and I'm using the same tag which you have used over here, daily news. Okay, it can be anything. So here you can do an API call like a fetch call, and you might sync your data to IndexedDB. Don't use local storage. Service worker can't access local storage. And once if the data is correctly synced to your IndexedDB, the next time user opens the app, you can just check your IndexedDB. Okay, if there is any data, immediately fetch from IndexedDB, otherwise make an API call. So that sort of a logic you can write. Yeah, that's it. Thank you for watching. Bye.